We are now in flight and reaching our cruising altitude of 34,000 feet, or flight level 340. If we suffer an engine failure during the cruise portion of the flight, we are primarily concerned with the loss of performance and subsequent reduction in ceiling. The normal maximum cruising altitude for an A320 is 39,000 feet. On one engine, this reduces to around 25,000 feet. This means that we are no longer able to maintain our flight level 340 cruising altitude, so we must start a descent. This is known as Driftdown. The Flight Crew Operating Manual, FCOM, for the A320 includes a procedure to follow in the event of an engine failure in the cruise. We leave the autopilot engaged and set the thrust levers to the maximum continuous thrust setting, MCT. We then disengage the auto thrust. This prevents the remaining engine from reducing its thrust to idle when we start descending. Next, we set our single engine ceiling of 25,000 feet into the Flight Control Unit, FCU, altitude window. Pulling the Alt knob on the FCU will command Open Descent mode, commencing our descent. We then set an airspeed of 300 knots into the FCU speed window. This will have us target a descent speed of 300 knots, but as the live engine is at MCT, we will not dive down too quickly. Let's trigger an engine failure now and put this into practice. Engine failure. As always, we aviate first. Let's perform the initial actions for an engine failure in the cruise. Move both thrust levers forward slightly into the max continuous thrust MCT detent. Disconnect auto thrust using the auto thrust button on the flight control unit. Using the Alt knob on the FCU, set 25,000 feet and pull the knob to select Open Descent. Turn the speed knob to set a speed of 300 knots. Those are the initial aviate actions completed. We are now in the drift down towards flight level 250. Now that we have taken care of the immediate needs of the aircraft, we can expand our situational awareness and consider the navigate step. We want to ensure that we are headed in a safe direction, such as turning away from any hazardous terrain or weather. Even though we are flying over the Alps, the performance of our aircraft still allows us to maintain a safe altitude above the terrain. The tallest point of the Alps is Mont Blanc, with a peak of around 16,000 feet. We can easily level off and cruise at flight level 250, giving plenty of safety margin, so in terms of terrain clearance, we have no immediate concerns. We have completed our initial aviate and navigate steps, so next comes communicate. We will inform the passengers of our predicament shortly, but for now we need to continue the initial management of the situation, and we'll turn on the seatbelt signs to have the passengers return to their seats. Turn on the seatbelt sign located on the overhead panel. The cabin crew will have noticed our unexpected descent and change in engine sound. We'll signal to the crew that we are aware of the issue and that they should begin to stow trolleys and canisters in preparation for landing. Attention crew at stations. Losing an engine is a significant occurrence and we need immediate assistance, so we will declare an emergency. Mayday, 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 jetliner 992, engine failure, descending flight level 250.
Jetliner 992, mayday acknowledged, turn left heading 255.
Left heading 255, jetliner 992. ATC are instructing us to leave our flight planned route and turn left to heading 255. Please use the heading knob to select heading 255, then pull the knob to select it. The engine failure procedure instructs us to set the engine mode selector to ignition. Please do this now. Next, we are to turn the engine master switch off for the failed engine. Please turn off the engine 1 master switch. With only a single engine running, we have only one source of electrical generation. To provide a second source, we will start the auxiliary power unit, APU. Turn on the APU master, located on the overhead panel. Now press the APU start button. The APU will now run its start sequence and will be available shortly. Keep descending down to our single engine ceiling of 25,000 feet and we will look at our options. Diagnose. It is quite clear that engine 1 has failed. We fly at high altitudes in order to maximise our range, but now we have had to descend to a lower altitude. This means that we will be unable to reach our destination, as our range is now reduced and we can't risk prolonged flight on a single engine. Options. We have Milan Malpensa Airport nearby, which is a major international hub and has 2 large runways. Decide. We'll plan to land at Milan Malpensa. Let's now put our plan into motion by informing ATC of our intentions. Radar jetliner 992, due to engine failure, request diversion to land at Milan Malpensa.
Jetliner 992, roger, I will coordinate. Turn left heading 220, descend to flight level 120.
Heading 220, descending flight level 120, jetliner 992. Set a heading of 220 in the FCU. And set an altitude of 12,000 feet. We will now inform the cabin crew of our plan, so that they can prepare the cabin accordingly. One format to perform this is a NITS brief. NITS stands for Nature, Intentions, Time, and Special Instructions. I'll call them now. Cabin manager to the interphone, please.
Hi, it's Josie at door 1 left.
Hi Josie, I need to give you a NITS brief. Are you ready to copy?
Yes, go ahead.
Nature, we have had an engine failure. Intentions, we are diverting to Milan Malpensa. Time, expecting to land in around 15 minutes. Special, please prepare the cabin for a precautionary landing. Can you read that back to me?
Engine failure, diverting to Milan, landing in 15 minutes, and will prepare the cabin now.
That's correct. I'll make a PA now. Hello again everyone from the flight deck, if I could have your attention please. One of our engines has malfunctioned and is now shut down. This means that we can no longer continue to our destination, but we will be diverting to Milan Malpensa Airport. We expect to be on the ground in around 15 minutes. We'll give you more information on the ground, but in the meantime please observe the instructions of the cabin crew. Thank you. The crew will now start landing preparations and will brief passengers sat in emergency exit rows how to operate the exit. They will call us back once the cabin is fully ready for landing. We have reacted to the engine failure with our initial actions, now have descended to our single engine ceiling and have a diversion in progress. From here we would coordinate our diversion with ATC and set up for the single engine landing in Milan. See how DODA is useful for all eventualities and allows you to keep a structured and organised approach to failure management, irrespective of aircraft type.